written down the equation, okay? And you are going to need to know this equation. And you're actually going to need to know it for cellular respiration. There's a reason I'm only giving it to you one time. It's because if you know it one way, you know it the other. Because this is a reversible reaction, okay? You could flip this around, and the only difference is instead of light energy, it would say heat energy, okay? So we said they have to have carbon dioxide, and the formula for glucose was what? C6. So we need 6 carbons, right? So we have 6 CO2 for every 1 glucose. And then look, what do we have here? Water. What do we have at the end of cellular respiration? At the end of cellular respiration, didn't we have H2O? And we actually had 12 H2O, didn't we? And then heat energy, which we didn't put on our paper, but we did talk about 60% of the energy was lost as heat. So here's energy, it's just in a different form, right? And then we make 1 glucose. We have 6 waters left over and 6 oxygen, okay? And so what we're doing here is we are reducing the carbon and oxidizing the oxygen, all right? And I could go through and explain to you how to tell which of these are which. It gets kind of complicated, and at this level, it's much easier just to know that the carbon dioxide is reduced. You having a hard time seeing it? Sorry. I don't know that I can zoom in any, but you can come up and look at mine after, okay? All right, so we're oxidizing the oxygen. What was the first thing that needed? Where did all energy, what was the ultimate source of all energy on Earth? Light, okay? So we're going to have some light energy here, okay? Energy in the form of light. What is energy in the form of light? It's a wave, okay? Light is a wave. It's actually a wave particle, all right? So it's on the electromagnetic spectrum, so we're going to get light energy, okay? So light energy is going to go in, and what did I say these were called? Individually, each of these was a thylakoid. What was the name of all of them? Do y'all remember? It's grana, okay? Thylakoid and grana, all right? So we have 2 ways to classify reactions here. One takes light and the other one doesn't take light. So which do you think this one is? Obviously, that's got to be the light reactions, right? Because we needed light energy. So these are the light reactions on this side, okay? We can also call that light-dependent reactions. Light-dependent reactions. And these are going to be the light-independent reactions over here, okay? The light-dependent reactions, light-independent reactions, all right? Doesn't mean that these, we used to call them the light and the dark reactions. I don't know which way y'all were taught in, junior high or elementary, but I prefer independent because dark reactions tend to make us think that they happen in the dark. And that's not the case. They just don't need light. Mason, look up. Okay. All right, so we are now over here. We have light starting the process. What else did we need up here? We needed some water, right? We know plants have to have water, but you need water for this to work as well. So here we're going to have water needs to go in over here, okay, in the light reactions. This is occurring in, what are these called? The thylakoid. So this occurs in the thylakoid of, what is this thing here? Did we ever finish that thought? I don't think I did. Looks kind of like a mitochondria, doesn't it? So which part of the plant does photosynthesis? Chloroplast. So we're in the chloroplast. These reactions are occurring in the thylakoid, okay? And what did we say the name that was similar to cytoplasm was for this? For this one, cytosol, cytoplasm were animal cells, mitochondria. This is stroma. Not stomata, stroma, right? So we're doing our light reactions. We're putting in light energy and water, all right? And then we are going to release some CO2. Okay. We're also going to make some ATP. Okay. And this is a very silical type process. What we use in one set of reactions goes back to the other. So we recycle them. Okay. So we're going to make ATP and we're going to make a shuttle. What's different about this shuttle right here? Can y'all read what that says? NADPH. Okay? So, what's really important is to keep those straight. You know the easiest way to keep them straight? What does P also stand for? Plant or photosynthesis. Okay, so NADPH, photosynthesis, and NADP plus. Okay? Still have ATP. We're going to send ATP, NADPH, which has got our extra hydrogen ions. We're going to send it over here to this portion. This is going to be what we call the Calvin cycle. Yes. These are intermediate molecules, and we're going to talk about these a little bit more as we get into the PowerPoints. This is RUBP, and you're going to want to abbreviate that as RUBP. Okay, and you are allowed to use these abbreviations on this one, okay, because this is a very big, long, confusing word. We also have 3PG and G3P. Easy to confuse. And it's just a molecule that's been rearranged. It looks this way, okay? And so we're going to send some ATP and NADPH over to the Calvin cycle, all right? And the Calvin cycle, what was our other product that had to come in? This should be O2, not CO2. Sorry about that. What'd you say? Well, I'm talking about from up here. Our product we're going to make, what is the plant trying to make? What is C6H12O6? Right. And so we're going to turn that into sucrose or starch. Do plants need energy? They do. So they make some energy to export from the cell, and then they also make some starch to store, because they've got to have energy too, okay? So they're going to make sucrose and starch, right? Sucrose is just a more complicated form of glucose, right? And then when they're done with these, they're going to send them back, okay? We've taken the phosphorus off of ATP, so it becomes ADP. It goes back over here to be recycled, right? We've taken the hydrogen ions off NADPH, and we're going to send NADP back to the light reactions, all right? This will come together more when I go through the whole process, okay? Now, in the light reactions, we have three portions. We have photosystem 1, photosystem 2, and the electron transport chain. So we have an electron transport chain in both, all right? So photosynthesis, just like cellular respiration, has stages. So we have 3 stages here. First one, we're going to say, what is happening here? What's happening right here? We're absorbing the energy of light, right? Okay, so we're going to absorb light energy. That's the first step. Light energy. A lot of times I abbreviate energy like this. So if y'all see EN with a slash on it, that means energy. Okay. Then, what did we make? We made ATP and NADPH. Okay, so what is the fancy word for making something? Synthesis. So this is going to be ATP and NADH synthesis. Synthesize, yes. ATP and NADH synthesis, okay? And then here, and we didn't write it, it should be DPH, thank you. I know y'all are paying attention when y'all correct me. Do not mind anybody correcting me at all if I forget something. Now, to make C6H12O6, I forgot an input over here. What do we have to have? What did we have to reduce in order to make C6H12O6? Carbon dioxide, right? So we got to put carbon dioxide in over here. We left that off, okay? The carbon dioxide had to get over here. And so what do we do to that carbon dioxide? We fix it or we convert it, okay? So we're going to say carbon dioxide conversion. You can say fixation if you want. Carbon dioxide conversion, all right? So let's add to that where these three things occur. Where do we absorb the light energy? In the light reactions or in the light independent reactions? Light reactions on this side, right? These are the light reactions because they needed light. Sorry, you can see it all. All right, and so this is light reaction. Where did ATP and NADPH synthesis occur? We made it here and sent it over here. So it occurred in the light reaction. And then where did we change our CO2 to C6H12O6? In the independent, okay? So, if you learn these two diagrams that I'm showing you, come in and write them down, you'll be able to answer any of the questions pretty much on the test. Now, you know, enzymes all we talked about in chapter 6. 7 and 8, this will answer all your questions, okay? All right? So this is the second half of your essay. Now, I could make you write it all out in words. Really, if you'll just give me back the diagram with the numbers and what go in and out, I know from that you can get through to the process. All right? Questions on this one? We're going to go through it in more detail. Okay. All right, so let's switch back over to our PowerPoint and let's talk about this a little bit more. So, glucose and oxygen were the products of photosynthesis, right? Which is why we really are happy about plants. They are the products of photosynthesis. What went in? What do plants need to live? You can think about it the same way. What went in? Carbon dioxide and sunlight, right? Carbon dioxide and sunlight, okay? And we had to have those pigments in the chloroplast in order to absorb that light energy, okay? We said we had two types of reactions, and they, of course, have multiple names because it's not complicated enough, right? So we have our light reactions, and I really prefer the terms light dependent. And then we have the dark reactions, also known as Calvin cycle reactions or light independent, okay? Light independent reactions. And photo, we said, referred to what? The light. So synthesis then meant making. So light making is carbohydrate, okay? NADP plus is a coenzyme. These little carriers, those are coenzymes, okay? So NADP plus, photosynthesis, NAD plus goes where? What was NAD plus? NAD add was cellular respiration, right? NADP is photosynthesis, okay? You don't want to mix those up, all right? It tells you the full name here. Do y'all want to write the whole name? Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. Would you rather just say NADP? That one you are allowed to, those you're allowed to forget. Okay? And these are what go between the reactions. So they're kind of like our shuttles still. They're going between is all they're doing, right? They're carrying hydrogen electrons over here, okay, for this to be processed in the dark reactions, okay, the light independent reactions, and they're recycled. So again, they're just carrying. That's all they're doing, okay? Kind of what we're going to do. All right, so this is the electromagnetic spectrum, all right? The electromagnetic spectrum includes a lot of things you would normally think of as light, okay? Microwave is light. What we think of as light, the visible light spectrum, is only this little portion right here of light, okay? All this other stuff is light too. Radio waves, microwaves. You talk on your cell phone. It's actually a form of light. X-rays, a form of light. Okay. What we see is the visible light. Okay. And that is going to go from very short gamma rays left to very long radio waves on the right. Right. So if you are going from gamma rays to the radio waves, okay, you are decreasing in energy. Okay. So gamma rays have more energy than microwaves. All right. UV light has more energy than visible light, okay? Which is why UV light can cause sunburns. It's stronger than the visible light that we see, all right? And so increasing energy goes